Let us take a moment to still our hearts and quiet our minds and center ourselves. We gather. We bring our sorrows, our disappointments, our failures. We gather for healing, for laughter, and to rejoice. We gather to find new ways of loving, new ways of thinking, and new ways of being. We gather. Yes, always we gather. For it is in the gathering that we find our hope. Kat will light the chalice here in the sanctuary. Those at home are invited to light your own chalice now. Okay. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. I did it backwards. Well, that was lit before. Okay. We light this beacon of hope as a sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of life we share together. Before we sing the first hymn, let me remind our remote participants to leave yourselves muted. However, we want you and whoever is with you to sing as big and loud as you like. Please stand in body and spirit and sing the opening hymn, Once to Every Soul and Nation, number 119.
Once to every soul and nation comes the moment to decide in the strife of truth with falsehood for the good or evil side. Then to stand with truth is noble when we share its wretched crust. Ere that cause bring fame and profit, and 'tis prosperous to be just. Though the cause of evil prosper, yet 'tis truth alone is strong. Though its portion be the scaffold, and upon the throne be wrong, then it is the brave one chooses, while the coward stands aside, till the multitude makes virtue of a faith they have denied.
Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist community of Cambria. We are glad you have joined us today. Our UUCC sanctuary sits on land that the Salinan and Chumash indigenous people historically inhabited. For centuries, the Chumash and the Salinan people tended the land with pruning, sowing, weeding, burning, digging, thinning, and selective harvesting. They made use of the land, and in doing so, made the land better for all creatures as well. With extensive practical experience, they encouraged desired characteristics of individual plants and increased populations of useful plants. They used the natural resources, but they managed to give back more. They tended the wild. We honor their contribution to this region and give thanks for the opportunity to gather in faith on their unceded territory. Let us respect their legacy and protect their history as we occupy this sacred space. As Unitarian Universalists, we celebrate religious diversity, welcome all who journey in faith and spirituality. The UUCC is a lay-led congregation run by the democratic process. We invite speakers from different religious backgrounds and spiritual and scientific backgrounds, as well as community leaders to speak at our pulpit. We encourage presentations covering a variety of topics, areas of interest that connect the UU's 7 principles and 6 values: justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, independence, and generosity. Today's service centers around the 4th principle. We affirm and promote a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. My name is Julia Stannert, and I am excited to be your worship associate for this morning's service. I would like to extend a special welcome to today's guests and visitors. We are glad you joined us this morning. If you would like, please raise your hand if you would like to introduce yourself or your guest. I don't see. Oh, well, we know, yes. Hi. Hi, Lori. I'm glad you joined us today.
Hi, I'm Shane.
Oh, hi, Shane. Yes, yes. Oh, and Natalie. Yes, Natalie. Okay. Well, thank you. Okay. If you are not on the mailing list, please visit the UUCC website at uuccambria.org so that you may keep informed of all our activities. Members and friends, please check out what's happening, the e-blast sent to you every week. This is a great way to keep up to date with our latest news. If you wish to see this or any of the past Zoom services, the recordings can be found on the UUCC website and on Facebook. So again, good morning and welcome to everyone. The affirmation is both a recognition of the nature of this community as well as a promise to which we aspire. Let us now recite the UUCC affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in freedom, and to help one another. We set aside this time for brief announcements that will be of interest to our community and friends. Please be succinct when announcing upcoming events or updates. If you have an announcement, please raise your hand, and when Randy or I call on you, come up to the podium or unmute yourself, then speak. Steve.
Good morning, everyone. Good to see everybody. It's that season again. It's scholarship season. This past Thursday, members of our UUCC Scholarship Committee attended a wonderful interview, and we interviewed 41 out of 42 graduates this year. That's a huge amount compared to previous years. Of course, we reviewed the applications, and we're going to be continuing to meet to consolidate and make our recommendations. I think we all believe, everybody on that committee and all of you believe that our scholarships are vital for ensuring social, environmental, and political justice, and also to give community support. So this year's graduating class was amazingly impressive to us, and if you could have been at Coast Union on Thursday and seen the people and heard their stories of perseverance, many of them had significant social and emotional and family problems, and yet they have hope and triumph, and they want to persevere and become productive citizens and attend colleges. If you could have seen these kids, I think you would agree that you would be totally touched and moved. So now we're looking to expand our scholarships, and the only way we can do that this year is with your generosity. So if you could do that, we know times are tough, especially these days, but the need is great. So we ask you to consider writing a check for the UUCC. When you do that, please put on the line, memo line for the UUCC Scholarship Committee. As Julia said, our values begin with justice and they end with generosity. So please be kind, be just, be compassionate, and above all, please be generous. Thank you.
Good morning. What a surprise, huh? Oh, did we? Oh, yeah, I didn't change it. Okay, we're going, ignore that date up there. We were changing it to the 24th. I should have changed that. Sorry, I missed. May, 24th of May, and not the 17th. Do you have an eraser or something? Okay, and the other thing I want to mention is that people, so far we have about 12 entries, and we need at least 30. 50 would be really cool. So please think of something you can do, a service you can perform. If you can't, it's okay to maybe get a couple coupons, or what do you call those, certificates? Certificates from a restaurant or a store, whatever, that'd be all right too. Okay, so if you want to donate that as something to auction, that'd be fine as well. Okay, so please keep them coming. Send anything, that forms back there, they're online. Just send them to me and we'll get it going. Thank you.
Less exciting is tomorrow's board meeting, but if you're interested in coming, please send me an email and I'll send you a Zoom link because it's on Zoom. And then also Tuesday at 3 o'clock here is game day. Okay, we do game day once a month, so show up, 3 o'clock. Thanks.
Hey, everybody. This Saturday, the 22nd, we're having a potluck at my house. So you're welcome at 5:30, and there's no theme. I'm just going to trust we'll have a balanced meal. And I do ask that you bring jackets because part of the seating will be outside. And cross your fingers for a pretty day because we have really nice sunsets.
Morning. Tomorrow at 10 o'clock, there'll be a men's group meeting here in the sanctuary. And if you want some entertainment, watch me and Don try to hook everybody up by Zoom, everybody who isn't here. So we'll see you tomorrow.
Randy, are there any announcements on Zoom?
No hands here. Back to you, Julia.
Okay. Next week, Andy Fagan will present Life Balance. Joys and Concerns is a time for sharing personal celebrations, sorrows, reflections, or gratitude. This is a time for community building. Please exercise brevity. Thank you. The collective flames of these candles embody all the joys and concerns which we may have gone unspoken today, but are deeply felt in this community. The first reading is a collection of quotes about morality. Fear is the mother of morality, Friedrich Nietzsche. Compassion is the basis of morality, Arthur Schopenhauer. Morality is not the doctrine of how we make ourselves happy, but how we make ourselves worthy of happiness, Immanuel Kant. Integrity has no need for rules, Albert Camus. Waste no time arguing about a good person. Wait a minute. Waste no time arguing about what a good person should be one. Marcus Aurelius. Morality is only moral when it is voluntary. Lincoln Steffens. Art, like morality, consists in drawing the line somewhere. Gilbert Cristerton. Morality is simply the attitude we adopt towards people whom we personally dislike. Oscar Wilde. So that explains that. I have a poem I'm going to read before meditation. The spirit likes to dress up like this: 10 fingers, 10 toes, shoulders, and all the rest. At night, in the black branches, in the morning, in the blue branches of the world. It could float, of course, but would rather plumb through rough matter, airy and shapeless thing. It needs the metaphor of the body. Time and appetite, the oceanic fluids, it needs the body's world. Instinct and imagination, and the dark hug of time, sweetness and tangibility. To be understood, to be more than pure light that burns where no one is. So it enters us in the morning, shines from brute comfort like a stitch of lightning, and at night lights up the deep and wondrous drownings of the body like a star. Let us enter the stillness. Quiet your active mind, soothe your troubled heart, connect with your ethereal soul, ignite your dormant spirit, reach beyond your essence to find your inner peace. The second reading is a continuation of quotes about morality. When morality comes up against profit, it is seldom that profit loses. Shirley Chisholm. Morality without religion is only a kind of dead reckoning, an endeavor to find our place on a cloudy sea by measuring the distance we have run, but without any observation of the heavenly bodies. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Let us, with caution, indulge the supposition that morality can be manifested without religion. Religion and experience both forbid us to experience the national morality, that national morality can prevail in exclusion of religious principle. George Washington. The greatest tragedy in mankind's entire history may be the hijacking of morality by religion. Arthur C. Clarke. Please stand in body or spirit and sing "The Pen is Greater," number 320.
The pen is greater than the sword, to wield a blade or write a word. We need the skill which hands accord. A surgeon takes a knife to heal, assassins do the same to kill. Each acts according to their will. I pick the cherries from a tree, or break the branch and let it die. For good or ill, my hands are free. With fingers I can soothe the brow, or make a fist and strike a blow. Kindness or cruelty bestow. Then let us now this lesson see. Like life itself, our hands can be for evil used or charity.
Today's talk is titled, "Does Morality Come from God?" to be delivered by Randy Schwalbe. Randy is a member of the Unitarian Universalist Community of Cambria. He is a proud member of UCC. He serves on the worship committee chair, as well as serving on the operations committee and co-managing the AV duties for these services, of which he is handling today. He also creates these awesome slideshows for each service and prepares the WA script that keeps us worship associates honest. I didn't know that was a problem, but in his spare time, Randy leads a trombone quartet, plays the lead trombone in the slow chamber orchestra, and an aside, for the May concert, he has been invited to guest conduct the orchestra. For the 6th time, Randy is writing and directing the Follies that will be staged at the Vets Hall over the last 2 weekends in August, which I love the Follies. Randy loves to camp and kayak and hike with his beloved wife, Mary. and their rat terrorist, Master Shifu. Randy?
Good morning. Hey. A wise woman was camping in the mountains. During a day hike, she found a precious stone in a stream. Later that afternoon, the woman was preparing her dinner when a hungry traveler wandered by. He approached her and asked if she had extra food that he could eat. She invited him to share her dinner. While enjoying the dinner with her, the man saw the precious stone and asked the woman to give it to him. She did so without hesitation. Soon the traveler left, rejoicing in his good fortune. He knew the stone was worth enough to give him security for a lifetime. But a few days later, he came back to the campsite to return the stone to the wise woman. "I've been thinking," he said. "I know how valuable the stone is, but I give it back in the hope that you can give me something even more precious than this stone. Give me what you have within you that enabled you to give me something so precious. Give me what you have within you that enabled you to give me this stone." The moral of the story: we can be defined by what we acquire or by what we give freely. And giving is the real treasure. The moral of the story refers to the key lesson or message that the author intends to convey through the narrative, often highlighting a principle or value that can be applied to real life, teaching readers about right and wrong behavior, or how we live ethically. It's essentially the takeaway from the story, the lesson that story teaches about how to behave in the world. Moral comes from the Latin word mores, which translates technically to habits. The moral of a story is supposed to teach you how to be a better person by acquiring good habits. When the word moral is used as an adjective, it means good or ethical. So there it is. Morality is simply acting or behaving in a good, socially accepted manner. Morality includes ethical behavior, integrity, and virtue. Further, a moral compass is a term used in reference to a person's ability to judge what is right and wrong, and then act accordingly. In a more nuanced manner, Unitarian Universalist congregations affirm and promote the UU7 principles, which we hold as strong values and moral guides. Moreover, each congregation develops a covenant statement defining with more granularity how to treat each other with respect, dignity, and love. Now, let's look at morality under a microscope. Morality is associated with the good and righteous behavior of an individual. Behavior itself is merely the aggregate of hundreds of micro decisions you make every moment or so while you're conscious. Think about it. Every moment you are making a decision. At this very moment, you are deciding to stay seated and listen to me drone on for about 25 minutes. I mean, you could make a decision right now to stand up and walk right on out. Hold on, I didn't mean that as an order, okay? Every word of this talk came from a decision to use that particular word in a particular place. Okay, another way to look at this endless sequence of decision making is to open a canister holding a spool of film called a movie. While there is only one strip of film, there are approximately 172,000 frames embedded in this 2-hour movie strip. In this analogy, each frame represents a micro decision. When you run the film through the projector, you will see and hear that series of decisions, i.e. images in the film strip, come to life, action, which we call behavior. Yes, each of you is a walking movie. Just an aside, the one exception to this observation of making continuous decisions while conscious is the act of meditating. When it's time to meditate, you should be making a decision to stop making decisions for a minute or an hour. In other words, pause your video. Okay. Now that I have you seen yourselves as busy little bees making thousands of decisions every minute, every single decision can be evaluated with a morality check. Did a series of your decisions lead to an act or utterance that turned out to be unkind, hurtful, or uncharitable? If so, your morality Geiger counter just beeped frantically. The scope arrow is waving frenetically. To get back on track, check your moral compass, or the 7 principles, or the UUCC covenant statement you keep tucked away in your back pocket. So, I have laid out a basic framework of this thing called morality. But now for the big ponderable. Where does morality come from? What is the source of all that is moral? Does morality indeed come from God? Here is a letter written as a blog by a student of the Grand Canyon University, a Christian-based institute of higher learning based in Arizona. Dear faculty, where does morality come from? Signed, I can't say his name. Theophilus. I can't say it. Theophilus. Dear Theophilus, this is the response to the letter. The simple, straightforward answer to your question about the source of morality is this: God is the source of morality. Now, I will offer a bit of an explanation on this truth, but I want to be abundantly clear with you. God is the sole source of the truly good and beautiful in life. Yet this does not mean you will never encounter a perspective on morality that identifies the source of morality outside of God. In fact, I guarantee you will constantly encounter competing visions of the good life rising up from your own heart and the world around you. Your task, more often than not, will be to return constantly to the vision for life sustained and rooted in God alone. Now, the letter goes on for some time, but it never says how or why, nor does it provide any evidence that morality comes from God. In so many words and iterations of phrases, the response to Theo's letter states that morality unquestionably comes from God. So therefore, it would be wrong for you to question this assertion. I'm not sure how this passes for education, but I digress. As you all know, all the God-faith religions sport a set of creeds and commandments, the most famous being the 10 Commandments. Commandments. Biblical scholars have gleaned from the Bible itself in this way. We cannot have an intimate personal relationship with the Most High in an unconsecrated, sin-ridden form. Religiosity is not righteousness, so God is crying out as he did to Israel, consecrate yourselves, make ready for that third day. Soon the shofar will sound and the redeemed righteous remnant will be resurrection to be with Jesus. As the Most High descended on Mount Sinai, the shofar grew louder and louder. God's presence appeared as a consuming fire. God announced his words and inscribed them on the stone tablets. The 10 Commandments were given to Moses, first for Israel, and then to all Gentiles who would believe in Israel's God. Grievously, these commandments have been distorted, partially removed, or even eradicated from the hearts of many professing believers. Many do not even know the 10 Commandments, much less keep all of them. However, they are the standards by which judgments are going to come upon this earth, first to the household of faith. Me again. Have you noticed that in order to get to the 7 commandments that deal with human relations, you must first profess your faith in accepting the first 3? You shall have no gods except God. You shall not take the Lord's name in vain, and you shall keep holy the Lord's day. It's like an incongruous secret code word needed to gain entry into the morality vault, which contains things like honor your mom and dad, avoid killing anyone, stop lying so much, refrain from stealing, resist adultery, and knock off with coveting. If the animal kingdom had a set of commandments, it would go something like this. Thou shalt not kill, except to eat. Thou shalt not covet another's prey or domicile. Thou shalt not steal eggs from someone else's nest. Thou shalt commit adultery if your feathers can outwoo your competition. And thou shalt lie in wait if you are stalking a herd of elk. Okay, so the Ten Commandments and the Bible should be enough to convince you that God is indeed the origin of all that is good and righteous. In other words, the source of morality. Taking a step back to observe human nature, I contend that there is an unwritten understanding, primarily in the Western cultures, that without a single source of a moral code, we humans would descend into utter chaos and debauchery by allowing every person to construct his or her own moral compass. Something akin to the way a heavenly orchestra sounds while warming up before the omnipotent conductor mounts the podium. Not an orderly society until the deific director's arms start to wave. Some would argue that God is merely a manifestation of man's imagination, not an actual bearded dude watching every action of every person 24/7, or someone up there who espouses decent behavior by carving a 10-point doctrine on some stone tablets and decides when it's your time. After all, without God, even a manifestation of man's imagination, how else can we get all of humankind to march to the same ethics drum? Yes, there are atheists out there who admit that without God, we would transcend into our anarchy. They just don't need God personally, I suppose. And I would surmise that almost all of us have at one time or another felt that there was indeed some higher power out there in control, the God gene in action. So, without any proof or circumstantial evidence, we should just accept the inevitable that morality does indeed come from God. QED, amen, namaste. Oh, look, I still have some time left. I have a little bit more to say here. Back in 2007, a Pew Research Center published a series of compelling studies that demonstrated strong implicit associations of atheists with immorality. Wow. Participants intuitively view acts such as serial murder, incest, and necrobestiality as more representative of atheists than of other religions, ethnic, or cultural groups. Unsurprisingly, atheists explicitly disavow this connection, with some even suggesting that atheists are the moral backbone of the nation, taking their civic duties seriously precisely because they don't trust God to save humanity from its follies. One night after a choir rehearsal at the UU Church of Studio City, of which I was the music director for 8 years, I wandered into the fellowship hall where an atheist service had just finished. I was greeted by very friendly people. I should not have been surprised, but sadly, I was. Contrary to popular belief, atheists are not evil Satan worshipers. So I perused the vast array of materials on hand and again was surprised. There were many references, directly and indirectly, to morality and related topics, but nowhere did I find any mention of God. That gave me pause. It suddenly dawned on me that at the tender age of 38, I saw myself as a highly immoral person. I had never violated any of the 4 through 10 commandments, well, none that I know of, and I was down with the 7 principles. But how did I get that way? I was working for the UU Church for less than a year, but I was raised by parents who never pushed any religion on my siblings and me, and up until I was 18, Sunday mornings were reserved for family breakfast. Right, Steve? All those formative years growing up spent with a tacit knowledge of the 10 Commandments and a total lack of awareness of UU principles, well, religion did not construct my moral compass. So how did I become a moral person? However, all through these years and beyond, even as recent as last week, I hear critical comments made by those deep into their Christian Judeo upbringing regarding individuals who have strayed from the law or treated others in a crappy manner. Comments that unabashedly claim that if that person had followed the moral creeds espoused by the church, this person would not know any criminal or miscreant behavior. He wouldn't be in trouble with the law if he was a God-fearing Christian, walking the path straight and narrow. How many of you ever listened to Dr. Laura's advice program on the radio between 1979 and 2010? Anybody? Dr. Laura fans? Yeah. Well, Dr. Laura Schlesinger emerged as one of America's most influential and controversial talk radio personalities. She often asserted that morality is instinctively linked to religious faith, particularly Christianity, and that the church plays a crucial role in upholding moral values. Dr. Laura strongly believed that morality is rooted in religious belief, particularly in God and the teachings of the Bible. She argued that without a religious foundation, people would lack a basis for moral judgment and behavior. She claimed it is simply impossible for people to be moral without religion or God. Get the word? Impossible. Schlesinger saw the church as a vital institution for maintaining and transmitting moral values and standards. She believed that the church has a responsibility to teach and uphold moral principles, and that its influence is essential for a healthy society. Schlesinger often criticized secular or non-religious approaches to morality, suggesting that they are often weak or relativistic. She believed that without a divine source of morality, people would be left to create their own standards, which could lead to chaos and immorality. And once again, that argument is used to promote morality is from God. The Pew Research Center chimed in with the notion that religion as a precondition for morality is widespread and deeply ingrained in our society. The center said that more than half of Americans share Laura Schlesinger's assertion that morality is impossible without the belief in God. Have you noticed by now that no matter how far I push the pendulum to the morality is intrinsic side, it invariably swings back over to the only by the church side? See, that's the God gene forcing its will. One more deep dive, and then I'll cry uncle. If you give even a smidge of consideration that God is a human manifestation, that means morality came with the God package, as opposed to something that was handed down by God herself, the Ten Commandments. That means somebody in the human race more than likely devised the tenets of morality. Yes, it is possible that through the millennium, it was scholars and theologists in the cloak of secrecy who developed the Codex of Morality. In their eyes, it was an act, some say conspiracy, to preserve the human species, literally. These leaders through the ages inherently knew that if every person was left to his or her own devices, our civilization would have perished centuries ago. But this social construct of divine-based morality would have been dismissed out of hand if it was known that members of the human race indeed authored it. Instead, an all-powerful, omnipotent entity needed to hand it down with assumed responsibility for its content. And you guessed it, it was God. The thinking goes like this. You, as a mere mortal, are unauthorized to question the word of God, both in wisdom and source. There is no room to question the content of morality as set by God, and where God got these ideas in the first place. Golden plates, anybody? It never occurred to me that God had a monopoly on morality until that fateful evening at the Studio City UU. Now I wonder if our civilization can indeed exist with just organically sourced morality. And if so, how will the church feel about this? I will make a bold assertion here. The church, with a capital C, needs morality to be a providence of God in order to maintain its control over us, or at least maintain access to our pocketbooks, a cynic would say. Dostoevsky claimed, if God does not exist, everything is permitted. Echoing this refrain, religious leaders claim that declining moral standards are at least partly attributable to the rise of secularism and the decline of organized religion. In the Socratic dialogue, Euthyphro, penned by Plato, Socrates famously asked whether goodness is loved by the gods because it is good, or whether goodness is good because it is loved by the gods. Although he favored the former proposal, many others have argued that morality is dictated by God and is unthinkable otherwise. Do you remember these words? Quote, "Yet this does not mean you will never encounter a perspective on morality that identifies the source of morality outside of God. In fact, I guarantee you will constantly encounter competing visions of the good life rising up from your own heart and the world around you." Yeah, that was part of the response to Theo's inquiry to the Grand Canyon University about the origins of morality. You can see the church will do whatever it takes to keep God and morality in alignment. And that's okay, let it be, and all that. However, this becomes ugly when it is used to promote a bias against non-religious people, or you use. So I take that back. I encourage you to politely and kindly remind folks who assert the divine origin of morality that you are a living example to the contrary. It is perfectly okay for members of the human race to define morality as it has been done before. After all, where else is it going to come from? Finally, who serves as the arbiter of morality and subsequent sentencing for any infractions? Now, this could serve as another entire sermon or two, but I'll cut to the chase. Stay with me on this. According to the Bible, the Ten Commandments serve as the divine statute of morality. Its source and arbiter is God. The sole sentence is denied access to heaven. Done. According to the secular approach to morality, man's ability to reason enables our species to morph the animal kingdom commandments I shared with you earlier to the last 7 commandments on the tablets given to Moses. Basically, just be nice and kind to each other. The source is the aggregate works produced by theologians, philosophers, historians, renowned psychologists through the ages. This human source of morality often serves as the basis for legal statutes we are obliged to follow. The judicial system passes judgment on a violator and passes one of a gamut of sentences, a simple fine to an extended incarceration to capital punishment. Outside of the legal system, morality is informally established and adjudicated by society at large, usually at the community level. An individual may display amoral behavior but not commit any legal infractions. If this person shows no signs of remorse or willingness to stop being a jerk, the organic sentences will come in the form of social isolation. This person will become a social pariah, like me. So, coming from a perspective of an agnostic and being the sole judge of this grudge match, I'm awarding this decision to the intrinsic nature of morality. Sorry, God. Your 7 commandments are terrific, as are the UU principles and values. In many subtle ways, we learn morality from our community leaders and associates, but most significantly, during our early years, we develop our morality from observing and emulating our parents. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. That was very interesting and entertaining. The morning offering will now be given and received. Please remember, we are a self-sustaining congregation and provide all financial resources for our many ministries. We recognize the spiritual value of generosity and invite you to participate. If you are viewing this service remotely, please use one of the methods shown on the screen. Thank you. our thanks for all the gifts given and received for the work of this community. Please stand in body and spirit for the closing hymn. We are the earth, upright and proud, number 303.
We are the earth, upright and proud. In us the earth is knowing. Its winds are music in our mouths. In us its rivers flowing. The sun is our hearth fire, warm with the earth's desire, and with its purpose strong, we sing earth's pilgrim song. In us the earth is growing. We lift our voices, fill the skies with our exultant singing. We dedicate our minds and hearts to order, beauty bringing. Our labor is our strength. Our love will win at length. Our minds will find the ways to live in peace and praise. Our day is just beginning.
As we prepare to extinguish the chalice, let us recite the valediction. We are basked in the warmth and beauty of this flame and this community. As the chalice flame is extinguished, we shall carry its glow onward. Let us kindle new sparks within the walls and beyond. Please extinguish your chalice at home. Okay, now let's form a circle and join hands. Randy,
Hey. Choose to be right with your loved ones. Choose to be right with all who you encounter. Choose to be right with your environment. Choose to be right with yourself. And finally, choose to have a lovely day today. Go in peace.